Friday, Foreign Minister of Iran, Aragachi, actually said that the Strait of Hormuz was open. And right after that, the IRGC fired upon ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Not only that, they fired on a couple of Indian ships, at least one of which had permission to sail through the strait. In fact, the ship called back to the IRGC Navy. Yeah, they still have a Navy. They got Navy bases on shore, and of course they got their little fast boats. But when they call the Navy, they're talking their Navy bases on shore. So what happened? Indeed, they fired upon one of these ships, and the guys called back and says, "Hey, you gave us permission to go through." They probably actually paid a toll to the IRGC to get through, and were still attacked. Well, the India called the ambassador, ran in and gave him the what to over that. But this just goes to show you can't trust the Iranians whatsoever. Even people they made a deal with, but they probably wouldn't got through no way, because even though Aragachi said the strait was open, Donald Trump come out and said no. From our end, no, we're not going to allow anybody through. It's been coming from a port in Iran. Same stance they had from the get-go. And upon hearing that, of course, the RGC went livid. And actually, when Aragachi made that statement, Trump came out and said, "Well, look, the Strait of Hormuz is open," because Aragachi just said it. But Aragachi is under fire now, and he's being challenged by the RGC. A lot of people are calling for his arrest, and some are actually calling for his execution. He has served long for the Iranian regime, but it just goes to show there's no shortage of internal division there now. The signs of the government splintering is beginning to become visible. They had that Mosaic program wherein they were, they gave every provincial RGC commander power to run their own province should the central government fail. And essentially, the person doing most of the negotiation from the central government is the Speaker of the Parliament. Garibald, I believe is his name. Anyway, he is the one who is being negotiating so far. Of course, he had said that he wouldn't negotiate until there was a ceasefire with Iran, that he went and negotiated before there was a ceasefire with Lebanon, but then he went and negotiated anyway, so he lied about that. We do find that the Iranians lie a lot. They have lied about, the missiles only being 2,000 kilometers in capacity. They have lied about quite a few things. And, this whole business where they give somebody a pass to get through the strait and then fire on them. That's my cats are causing some big problems here. And then fire upon them is just off the charts. Off the charts. Somebody pays the toll, gets the pass, and then they shoot at them. And I think that ship is actually, I heard it was listed. So they have fired on several ships from gunboats, and one cargo ship was hit. They don't know what hit it. It could have been a drone, could have been a gunboat, could have been maybe even a missile. We do know that they actually do have some missiles that can fire from those gunboats. Little fast boats is what they got. All their large naval ships have been sunk, but they still have those little fast boats because they hide them in bunkers basically near the shoreline, and they're going to come out with them. They're really, quick little fast boats, no doubt about that. And I've said they had those for some time, and that's been understood. The civilian ships don't really have much defense against them, and when they come out real fast, they can get away with doing a lot of damage real quick. So this is not a trivial thing. But this whole thing with the strait is up in the air. We can see that the command structure within Iran is dubious, to say the best. Who do you really negotiate with right now? Supposedly the supreme leader, makes all these statements, but nobody knows who's really writing them. Probably some IRGC commander. Nobody knows what the status of that person is, the supreme leader. because he hasn't been seen since the first attacks on 28 February. Some people think he's still comatose, maybe he's dead, maybe he's just afraid to be seen, given what's happened to his family. But it's not really clear who's in charge there. And in fact, it does seem that various forces are vying for control. So things are devolving. If Trump keeps up the blockade on everything coming out of Iran in time, it won't take long before Iran starts to have real severe troubles. I mentioned this the other night that they have to basically keep their pumps going, or well pumps going, or there gets to be severe problems with the pumps, the pumping equipment, the wells themselves. Apparently water gets in and all other kind of stuff happens, and they lose some of these assets if they have to shut them down, or they become severely degraded, including some of the wells. Now that's there's a lot of technicalities and a lot of different things involved in that, but to shut them down becomes a huge problem. But the real problem is they're filling up the tanks. They're still pumping, but they got tanks in the country. They're filling up, and those tanks are nearly full. So they're not going to be able to keep pumping for long. And they're not getting any revenue, and people in Iran are not getting paid like they did because of that lack of revenue. Some of the troops are going home. They're recruiting 12-year-olds. They are in the process of still executing protesters. And it's really heinous, because when they execute a female protester, they have it in their minds that you have to be a virgin to go to heaven, something like that if you're a female, or maybe married. But so they're actually raping them before they execute them, so they can't go to heaven. Lord, what a kind of religion to have. It's just heinous, some of the ways that. And then we get people over here that try to equate to them moral equivalency to us. So I don't know, I'm getting what's going on in the chat room here. Stuff's disappearing from chat. That's wild. Yeah, oil filters may go through the roof, but I would expect in time this is going to settle out. And the reason being, man, can't hold out indefinitely. The regime is starting to crack. It may fall apart. There was actually a protest in Iran by the hardliners against the government for supposedly trying to cave and make a deal with Donald Trump's administration. But the hardliners, of course, they can protest without fear of reprisal, of being mowed down with machine nugs, if you know what I'm talking about. The situation, though, is that they're in a dire strait over there, and it's getting worse. And it looks like we're sending a lot of attack helicopters over there, and there's talk of the United States boarding Iranian ships. We're talking about the cargo ships, the various ships that they want to try to get through, or let's say Iran-linked ships. So they're not just talking about turning them back; they're talking about boarding them, seizing them. And we do know those ships are going to have people armed. They're not just going to be sending regular tankers out. The Iranian tankers, Iranian-linked tankers, will have armed forces on them, and these armed forces may carry man pads, which is shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missiles. They're going to try to shoot down any of these helicopters, especially if you're trying to board people on the ship from a helicopter. A helicopter has to stay stationary in airflow, which makes it a sitting duck to be targeted. So that's just something to look out for. That is something to look out for. In any event, it could be kind of like Black Hawk Down, maybe on steroids. So, this is a war. For all the talk of, what we've lost, considering we've been at war now since, it's been something like 6 weeks, better than 6 weeks. We've lost 13 people, 400 have been injured. But to be at a war where you've been shot at by drones and missiles, in which you've been flying aircraft over enemy territory really extensively, including the search and rescue missions, which have to fly slow and low, which make them big targets. We've done exceedingly well. We've never had a war like this where we've caused that kind of damage we've caused and had so little back on our side. That's something some YouTube channels are not pointing out. They only seem to want to look at the negative side of it. So whatever's happening here is it's really it's stark. Um, I I don't know how, here's the thing. If the oil wells have to be shut down, Iran's going to have a hard time bringing it back. It was said it would take 12 years for the Iranians to rebuild their industry, their defenses, and so forth. But they got to have the revenue to do it. And, they had over $1 trillion invested in all that stuff. And given that the people there are hungry, given that there's water issues in the country, they may be hard pressed to spend that kind of money again and resources. And given the water dire situation, they may not be able to. So Iran is really suffering, and they're about to get pounded more, probably. I expect in a few days the bombs will be falling again in Iran. Question is, well, Trump's wanting to keep Carg Island open for the benefit of negotiations. So, okay, Iran, you might have something to trade with, or for the benefit of the protesters in Iran should they take over. But, the resolve in keeping, not destroying the facilities on Carg, Trump's talking about just taking it. If he took it, he could then relinquish it later back to friendly forces in Iran. But, if the situation stays dire over there, they may decide to destroy the facilities on Carg Island, which would give very little hope for recovery from anytime soon for the Iranian economy. Now, this is kind of like, maybe the situation in Europe. When the wall fell in Europe, the Eastern European countries that were communist, they didn't all fall overnight. It took some time. But the people in those countries started overthrowing those governments, and every single one of them were overthrown. All those communist governments were overthrown. Some were overthrown in weeks, some it took months. But every swinging communist country in Eastern Europe was overthrown. And the people that overthrew it don't want nothing. They hate communism. Nobody hates communism like a country that had been communist. It's hard to get that yoke off your neck. And the people in North Korea, the people in China, I'm sure they would all like to get that yoke off their neck. Hong Kong people protested there. They tried to stay out of it. And the Chinese government just forced it upon them in violation of the treaty they had with the United Kingdom. Very much in violation. That's why you can't negotiate with the communists either. They will lie, cheat, and steal, and break treaties whenever it's to their convenience if they think they can get away with it. And I'm not sure that we got a better chance with Iran. So the good news is this. The good news is that it could be that the people will overthrow the regime and set up a government where they're free. And you can bet they're going to, China really financed the regime. And a lot of the people there in the country highly resented it. It made them mad when China put on them because they knew they were going to be holding to China. And so they're not likely to want anything to do with China. And so they're very likely at that point to realign Iran with the West. So the good news with respect to things is even, I had assessed previously, I did a video right near the inception of the war when I was saying, yeah, we'll probably just bomb them until they're rubble. And because of political and economic pressures, we'll probably draw out before they make any concessions because they're trying to outlast Trump. But so much damage has been done, it might be that they really can internally outlast. I did not think that the people there could overthrow the government without the arms. But it did happen in Eastern Europe. So given that, and if enough people are there, if enough people were determined and resisted the regime, it can't stand up. All the people have to do is just quit supporting it, not to shoot at them. But apparently, some of the RGC members their vehicles are being bombed. There's other things, other ways to get at stuff other than bang bang. So I don't know, my friends, that that could change over there. It could be that the regime really would fall. Well, we had got to do is just pull back and let events take their course. So I just hope the best for the actual people there that want freedom, and let's hope it don't have to be prosecuted to the point that they have no economic hope. That's what would happen if Cargill Island gets taken out. However, if the regime keeps pressing and keeps firing missiles, see, they're talking about, here's what's happened to. See, they've got, still have a lot of missiles. They've hit them in bunkers. It's thought that we took out at least 40% of their missiles and missile launchers, and that they're what they've been digging out over the past couple of weeks is thought they're back up to about 60% capacity with being able to fire things. But Hicks have said, hey, we're watching you. We're watching all this. So you can expect to really go after those and attack them. And it might be like the opportunity we're looking for to take out more of that stuff. In the meantime, you can expect Iran would be firing some of this stuff at the Gulf states and their targets, because they talked about just what Iranians said was that nobody would be able to survive in the Gulf Coast area. And what that evokes is the idea that they'd be going for the desalination plants. It's true. The cities in the Gulf Coast region would collapse if enough desalination plants, or just a few of the major ones, were taken out. And I've covered that in a previous video. It would be a horrendous problem there. However, the question is, can they really do it? Do they have enough manpower to man these missiles? If their grid's taken out, could they even coordinate those attacks? Could they even stage them? And if they really started, Trump is liable to go up to their grid. He threatened to do it in the past. He might do that. So Iran needs to think about those kind of things before they go into all out, apocalyptic attack on the other Gulf Coast states. And you can bet Iran is a pariah now with everybody except China and Russia, even India. Was trading with them, and now they got bit. And they're not happy anymore. So they should have expected that, quite frankly. Let's see. The president's kind of foolish now after announcing it was open. Well, you got to remember what I just said. You might have missed early on the video here. Is that of course they do want to make him look foolish if they can. Aragachi came out and said that the Strait was open. Aragachi said it before Trump did. But Trump had also come out and says, well, yeah, but we're still not going to stop our blockade. He basically said, he says, we're not going to stop our blockade until we negotiate, successfully with Iran. Because the whole point of the blockade from the United States side was to get Iran to step down from their nuclear deal. And Iran wasn't doing it. We're just trying to get things open from their end to serve their economy, basically. And as I mentioned earlier, Aragachi got into a lot of trouble over that. Aragachi got into a whole lot of trouble over that. They're calling for his elimination. Some people are calling for him to be executed. Some of the hardliners, they're not happy. So that's why I said, the whole situation over there is very fluid. The whole situation there is one that is in quite a bit of challenge. And that's why I said, ask the question, and the title of this is Iran cracking? We don't know. Is Iran cracking? What's going on there? This situation is very fluid there. It's much in question. Who's really the leader? There's just a lot of big questions going on over there. So we'll just have to see how it all plays out. But the bottom line is that if Trump keeps the uh, blockade going long enough, it's going to do serious damage, further damage to the Iranian economy uh, and the RGC forces. The military is different than RGC. You got to keep that in mind. RGC is the inner core that's more directly controlled by the Ayatollah-led regime, by the clerics. And they were even more hardline than the Ayatollah in the past. Ayatollah, Ali Khamenei. But we don't know about his son. It's thought his son would be a hardliner, but we don't know really anything about him. Supposing, as I said, he's making a few edicts every now and then and issuing statements, but nobody has any idea who's writing those. We never heard him speak them. And he's not been directly involved or seen at all since the 28th of February attacks. So we don't know. The bottom line, what I'm pointing out is, yeah, things are about to heat up over there probably. And they could heat up really bad, and we could see more casualties as we try to board Iranian-linked ships. Will the United States go in to try to actually try to seize the uranium, the highly enriched uranium? And I will say this: Trump is wrong when he calls it dust. It may be gas, but it's not dust. When Trump says dust, what he's come to see what he's actually trying to refer to. He's referring to this idea that he blew all that stuff up. He absolutely did not. And I have proven that and restated it, and nobody else anywhere in the media has ever stated this except me. Nobody seems to understand it. This uranium is in the centrifuges as uranium hexafluoride. It's even without the uranium in it, the hexafluoride is extremely toxic and caustic, both. Caustic means it will eat through things. It's reactive, like more so than bleach. Fluoride is extremely reactive. It oxidizes things, like catching fire. It will eat through stuff. You put that on your skin, and you're going to be in an extreme world of probably doing the funky chicken. Then you put highly enriched uranium in it, enriched to 60%. It's horrible. This is a gas. If you bomb those centrifuges, the gas is in these little fragile tubes that go around these centrifuges. It's in tubes. These tubes are fragile. So you got an extremely toxic gas, uranium hexafluoride, in little tubes around these centrifuges. Centrifuges about yay big around. They got these little tubes wrapped around them, and they spin them to centrifugally separate out the heavier uranium elements. That's how they purify it. So that's how they get it to higher and higher concentration. Just keep these things spinning. But if we saw the holes at Fordo where they dropped these bombs, we saw the holes in other places where the bunker busters fell in. And that gas, had those centrifuges been hit, that gas would have came out. And it wouldn't be just dust laying in the ground. It's a gas. It's not like they got cake of uranium sitting around. It's a gas. It's a gas. So the day after Fordo was bombed, they showed people operating machinery outside around the area, and they show where somebody put up some of that little orange, plastic fencing so nobody would fall in the hole. They were walking around shirt sleeve, no protective equipment on at all. Why? Because it wasn't contaminated. Why was it not contaminated? Because those centrifuges had not been hit. Had those centrifuges been hit, and somebody walk around like that, they'd have been on the ground doing a funky chicken and pushing daisies. There ain't no other way around it. We did not take those out, and the uranium is not dust. It's a gas. So I have to take difference with Trump on that. Big time. And I said it way up. He was actually getting people in the media to lose their jobs over trying to say, well, maybe the damage wasn't so bad. Maybe we didn't get it. And I just come out and said, no, we didn't get it. Absolutely. And I can prove it. But anyway, all that aside, was there damage on the facilities? Yes. Considerable. A lot of damage. But, we did see with just before they hit, the Iranians pulled up with like 21 big trucks. It would have only took one of them really took that stuff out. I went through it. I did a video where I talked about the mass of all this, the volume it occupied, what it would take to move it out. I did that. I covered that on there. I went into great detail about exactly what it would take to get that stuff out of there. Easy peasy. Not all that stuff they had out there. Far less. Far less. So the idea that it was all there, and they knew those places were going to get hit. They knew it. That's why they were trying to get that stuff out. So we didn't get it. I don't believe we got any of it. And I don't think any of it is dust. And there was dust in the first place. It was a gas. So, I take issue with that. And I've taken issue with that ever since the day after Fordo. When I saw those pictures, I knew it right then, right off the bat. No, we didn't get it. That was pretty obvious to me. And nobody else talks about that. Nobody at all. Maybe if they do, I've not heard it. I've been listening, reading, and journalists usually aren't the brightest people on earth. I'm gonna tell you this. A lot of journalists out there yapping and yakking, and some defense analysts. But I'm an engineer. And very few engineers are talking about this stuff. So there it is. You come here and you get the truth. And nobody watches my channel, so it's like I never said it. It's just like suddenly I noticed these articles about Amy Eskridge. Oh, there's an 11th person connected to all these things. We just discovered this. I've been talking about that for a long time. There's things I'll talk about. Some of the news discovers that like it's never been mentioned. Okay. I'm going to do a video tomorrow, hopefully, on Amy Eskridge on my Galactic Greg's channel. I hope I can do that. I got a lot of things to do. I wanted to do it today, and I just didn't have time. I had too many other things to do. But there's breaking news I'll bring you guys. I'm the guy who broke the news before anybody on the media. Anybody. And told you that the U.S. Air Force F-22 shot down a party balloon. And it was absolute. I even named whose party balloon it was. The Illinois Bottle Cap Brigade's balloon. And day later, the news media come, hey, well, we just discovered. No, I beat them to it. There's some things I break news on before anybody. So, in any event, I'm an engineer. I look at stuff from the engineering standpoint. I'm the one that broke this whole idea that we had an EMP threat from Chinese balloons. And I explained exactly how they could do a sneak attack, EMP sneak attack on us with balloons, and why it was indefensible. A lot of people didn't understand that, but I laid it out. I actually designed a system, but it wasn't nothing that Chinese don't already know. So R.I.P. Amy. Who are we talking about here? Oh, yeah, I got to make an announcement. R.I.P. Amy. Oh, we lost somebody. We've lost somebody else I was going to mention. What is this? We lost somebody in our community? Anyway. Who are we talking about? All the sun. Yeah, I'm trying not to read the chat until I get done with the news portion here, but I do keep on a few key comments. All right, so guys, so what's all this boil down to? The Iranian regime seems to be cracking. There's competition inside. They're vying for power. But the whole thing may be going down. There is hope that the protesters may actually prevail. And that's my main hope for their sake, the sake of the people of Iran. And let's hope it's sooner rather than later. And let's hope that the IRGC doesn't push things to the point to tempt Trump to wipe out Carg Island. However, if they don't cut it out, I don't blame them at all for taking it out, just blowing it to smithereens. Basically, if they did that, we could pull back and be out of there. Honestly, at that point, because then Iran has nothing to sell, and they're done. They're finished. They have had their industry destroyed, their ability to manufacture a lot of these arms, and it's going to take them a long time to crawl back, and they may not have the money to do it with, especially if they lose Carg Island. So I would expect things will change a lot in Iran. Their proxy networks have been beat down pretty big time. Things are different. And the big long time loser will be China. So, and maybe, just maybe, see, I had said we shouldn't engage with Iran early on because we need to save our munitions for China. But it may just work out, maybe, let's hope and pray, that this puts China in a bind in many ways because they can't buy fuel as cheap as they were getting it. And that will maybe take the wind out of their sails for making any sudden advances on Taiwan. So let's just hope that happens. Did my chat room get froze up? I'm going to try to open it up over on this other computer. I do hope that the war does come to an end, but in such a way that we don't have to worry about Iran rising up and actually executing what their long-term goal really was. A lot of people don't understand where they were really aiming, what that faith they had demanded of them, and why they pushed things so hard. Why it is that they felt so much like they had to, this ain't doing right. Why they had to hold on to that nuclear fuel to the nth degree. Oh, Amy Eskridge, yes. Okay. Yeah, that was real sad about her. I knew her. She was brilliant. And she was brilliant. She was young, and I thought she was a sweet young lady. And yeah, we'll talk about that. Well, I'm going to cover that on Galactic Grades. Just stay tuned. I hope to do it tomorrow. So, just a lot going on, my friends. A lot going on. I'd hope to come on here earlier than that. I'm not going to stay here too late tonight. It is late already, and I got to get up in the morning. I got other things to do, like maybe make that video. I need to get things lined up, turn this computer in. Whoops, I need to turn it. That's a lot. All right, so yeah, Amy, the news has come out just all at once, like they just discovered Amy Eskridge. She passed away, what, 3 years ago? Oh, maybe 4. I think it's about 3 years ago now. I have to go back and look. But she was more directly involved in this stuff than a lot of these other people. It's a very sad thing. Very sad thing. Those who know. Yeah, that's true. Knowing things is dangerous. You know too much, they don't want you around, especially if you're not playing their game. That's the sad thing about that. I'll go into that. On Galactic Grades. Yeah, really sad on that. Anyway, so um, yes, 88 room. So here's what we're going to do. Russia is also a big question right now. The Russian economy is really beginning to tank because, quite frankly, the Ukrainians have hit so many oil fields, it's finally beginning to accumulate on the Russian economy. It's hitting them hard. And the situation there is that the bear is now cornered. And there's some people inside Russia apparently talking about potential unrest against Putin's government. It's getting that bad. It's said that people aren't paying their bills. They're not paying off their loans. They're not paying back whatever credit charges they had. And the banks in Russia are on the verge of collapsing, according to some sources. I don't know, but some of the Europeans are talking about sending a lot more drones, like 120,000 drones into Ukraine for Ukraine to use in the war. And Russia started talking about targeting various countries, various capitals and cities throughout. He talked about the United Kingdom. Now he's just talking about targeting several countries in Europe. And they've already threatened the Baltic states because they claim that the Baltic states allow these things to fly over. So things in Europe are getting really tense all at once. And we might have wished that we'd have went ahead and went out of NATO because we might get pulled into that. I hope we don't. I hope we do not get pulled into World War III with Russia all over a little area of land about the size of what New Jersey, the Donbass region, that don't want to be part of Ukraine in the first place. And I'm getting pulled into World War III over that. I don't know, my friends. Uh, that's a high price to pay, especially for given how Europe's been by us. And my friends in Europe, I don't wish that on y'all either because, um, guys, it ain't worth it. It really ain't worth it. Not to you or anybody else. Y'all need to think about this. Y'all need to call your globalist leaders on the carpet over there. That's what I'm thinking. We get anybody from Europe in the house tonight? If we do, speak up and tell me what you think about this stuff. Tell me if you think y'all need to proceed in that direction or change course. Tell me what you think about it. But Keir Starmer is really taking United Kingdom down the hole, in my humble opinion. And he caters to the invaders. that's a way to put it. He caters to the invaders. Yeah. So there's one y'all can quote and use. Caters to the invaders. We got some people here like that too in this country. Globalist. They don't want sovereign nations. They want one world government. All run by the House of Klaus or something of that ilk, where you will have no privacy. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. I don't know about being happy that way. Now, we have lost somebody else in our community. Y'all might remember Randy Bly. Randy Bly used to come in our chat room a lot. He got real sick. He was given less than a month to live. We prayed for him, and he recovered and had an active life for a few more years. And he was doing good for a while. He would come back into our chat room, and then it hit him again, and he just went downhill. And he passed away Friday. Randy was, I don't know if y'all remember several years ago when I was going to farmers markets a lot. He and his wife, Susan, came and they were playing music and singing, and Randy had a big chauffeur and he blowed it. And now the chauffeur's been blown for him. Good man. I thought the world of him. Yeah, and eating some bugs. That's what they want to do. Yeah, the globalist crowd wants to fly around in their personal little jets, burning tons of carbon, party, eat caviar and steak, whilst you live in 15-minute cities in ISO rack and stack ISO shipping containers by the railroad track, so they can take you off when they want to, I guess, to certain kinds of chambers, you might say. Yeah, they don't care for us. They don't love us, my friends. That's where this whole leftist agenda leads to. This whole let all the, you know, let the invaders in your national identities. Yeah, Randy was a good man. He was a good man, really good man. And I remember the day he and Susan brought me this bottle. Susan made this bottle. This was a blue. They were the Blue Bottle Bunny Farm. Used to be real active on YouTube. This is Blue Bottle Bunny Farm. They were in Birmingham. They had rabbits, and they were into blue bottles. And she made out of rocket sand. The cats knocked it over and kind of broke it up some. I've got to maybe I can find the pieces and glue some of them back together. These cats have broke several things in the house here already. I had a picture from when I was like 6 years old, maybe 8. No, I was older than that. I was 9 or 10. So the picture's nearly 60 years old. Big family portrait, me and my brothers and their wives. And I had it squirrel away upstairs in a place where I didn't think they could get to. And somebody got to it and knocked it over and busted it to pieces. These cats are destroying stuff. I mean, I'm hiding things and putting things up, try to keep them out of stuff, and they're getting into stuff I couldn't imagine. They have done a lot of damage. Every night I lay tons of foil up on my computer, on my desk here, and everything to keep them off. And I covered and I put barriers up around my camera because I'm afraid they're going to break my camera. They are tearing stuff up. So they torn up a lot of stuff. Not a little bit, but a lot. I think I'd be better off with rats, quite frankly. Now I'm beginning to think that. These cats are destructive. Uh, yeah, I pray for Susan especially. She's going to take it hard. She was actually in her own little building doing some work, and she saw him in her mind's eye. And then she went and checked on him. He was just passed away. It was like he appeared to her, and he was like young, and his arms upraised. So he was going on to his reward. Good man. Yeah, crazy critters. Cats are crazy, especially when they're kittens and they get big enough to really run and tear things up. So, yeah, their time in the house is approaching its limit. We had freezing. It got down last night. It got down to freezing. Tonight it's going down to high 30s. Hopefully, it won't get more freezing weather. And it might mean no harm, but boy, they sure do it. Hey, rats don't necessarily mean harm either. They're just trying to make their nest. Well, they'll tear you up. Dang critters, no rats, no feral mice are on my last nerve. Feral mice. Yeah, feral mice are the bad ones. Uh, yeah. Build a catio door. I don't have room. I barely have room to walk around in here. I'm in a tiny home. I'm in a tiny home here. They finally ripped and roared enough they're going to sleep. I'm in a tiny home. There's not room for a lot of stuff in here. Um, not much room. Anyway, yeah, I just want to mention that about Randy Bly. He was a member of our community. He'd come in our chat a lot. And like I said, if y'all remember, I had him on video. When we were earthquake weather, that ain't good. I had them all, and I had him and Susan on our videos back a few years ago when I was at the farmers markets. Singing, and Susan writes her own songs. She don't sing anybody else's songs. She writes her own songs, and they're really good. Some of them are really funny. And now she's into this. She's kind of quit. They quit YouTube. I mean, it's just tough doing things on YouTube. She went to TikTok. Now you know, she's got some more comedy things she's done. She's really talented. Uh, Not to mention making things like the bottle back here. High winds. Yeah, the Midwest has been destroyed by tornadoes. Real bad tornadoes out there. You need to pray for those people tonight. The Midwest. Southwest Virginia. Okay. Hey, yeah, I see, Shelley. Thank you for that. All righty, what I'm gonna do is um I'm gonna show you something about China here. There's an article on China. China is our biggest concern in the long term. And I said the bio threat in China is severe. You know, they just keep bringing people over here with bio agents. They just keep trying to sneak bio agents in this country, left and right. And that's our biggest threat. You know, I would hope that we could pull back out of Iran soon, disengage from the stuff, and get our FBI to work trying to ferret out the sleeper cells and anybody in this country that may have a bio lab or any biological activities. And we need to not have so many Chinese students in this country. I'm sorry. When they're bringing all this stuff over, it's, you know, we you know, when they are beholden and by law required, if asked, to spy on behalf of China, that's not something we need in this country. Not especially if we're on the verge of some kind of war with them. It's the bio labs that's the biggest threat right now. That and hacking and EMP attacks, but the bio ones are the scary ones, especially when you look at the kind of stuff they had in mind. Yeah, so this is something I'm going to show you guys in just a little bit here. Matter of fact, let's do that. I'm going to go to share here, share screen. Hang on. It's getting kind of chilly in here right now. I turned the heat off so my computer won't overheat, but it gets me chilly. So I got to heat it up before I go to bed. Let's see. I can't be on here much longer. I'll have to go in a little bit. So let me do some things real fast. Share screen. That's not what I want on the screen right now. Hang on. Bing, 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 bing. I don't know if y'all remember this secret speech that came out in 2019 that I was showing you guys. That was this is my video on it from former defense minister of China, General Chi Haoting. And I went through this thing in the previous video. When he's talking about they want to take us out, they want to eliminate everybody in America, Canada, United States. Yeah, you Canadians, you might be on the left side of the political spectrum, but you're targeted too. And Australia, because they want to take Australia and North America. And they think the way to do it is bio warfare. I went through that in great detail. They want to wipe us all out according to this. And some people said, well, this is a secret speech. It was released. We don't know if he actually said these things, but a lot of things he actually is recorded saying is that he said a war with the United States was inevitable. And when you look at all the biotechnology programs, bio warfare, that China is in genetic biological stuff, which he said he didn't want to wait for that, but they're already developing it. I've shown you the articles on this stuff. I've shown it to you guys. Even if he didn't say it, the evidence all seems to be pointing in that direction. Look at all the biolabs we discovered in this country. It's heinous. And then I'm going to show you another article in a minute. Before I get to that, though, one thing I'd like for you to think about is if you don't want the House of Klaus, then don't support the companies that support the House of Klaus, the WEF. Because if you go to their website, they got their partnership program, and you can see that's who funds that stuff. And it's these big conglomerate corporations. And what do we get from those big conglomerate corporations? Toxic products. tons of toxic products, chemicals in this stuff. You're getting chemicals when you buy this stuff. I've covered that. I'm going to go back and cover some more of that soon. And I've stepped away from it for a couple of weeks, but I got to get back in telling you guys more about this stuff. It's heinous when you realize what all they're putting out to us consumers here in America. It's chemicals, heavy metals. Then one that blew my mind was 90% of your toothpaste have heavy metals in them, even the ones branded for children, even a lot of the so-called health brands, like the Himalayan, health brands, stuff like that. Everybody thinks they're safe. No, I actually showed you which ones. I showed you all the chemical analysis. But the crazy thing is, even those 12 corporations are have controlling interest on them by the big asset management companies, especially the top big three. And the biggest one of them is BlackRock, which is run by Larry Fink, which now runs the House of Klaus. He took over Klaus Schwaber's position. So go figure. And you will own nothing. It's because you're going to be a renter. What's he do? What's BlackRock doing? They're buying up houses like crazy and everything and anything. Why? This whole they want to make you forever a wage slave to them, give you digital money, and then if you don't satisfy their social credit score, they'll take it away from you. And then once we get to the stage that automation says they don't need you, you're a useless eater. How long are they going to entertain you? Is a big question. Just long enough to get their power play set. That's how long. It may not be very long at all. You got to remember, they don't want people around. So, well, the reason, Drew, I got cats is this area out here in the desert is huge rat problems. And my cats outdoors have eliminated the rat problem right here in the area of my home. But Smokey the cat needs some company. So I'm hoping these cats survive to become company for Smokey the cat. Anyway, so I got a way to get away from this. And what I come up with is this website, switchwithgreg.com. We got a family-owned company that is not part of this big 12, not part of the House of Klaus. It's a family-owned company based in the U.S. of A. All the products made in America is non-toxic because chemicals are not in them. Even the cleaners are plant-based, and no, it's not using glyphosate grains. It's good stuff, and supports American jobs, and a lot of shampoos, cleaners, lotions. I use their lotion. I quit using lotion for years until I got that stuff. And I just discovered something. I've been buying a snack that had a blueberry base. And I'll change that and I'll show y'all guys a little bit. But go to switchwithgreg.com and fill this out. This is my website. I created it. This information just goes to me. And I got an individual who's a member of our community that I send her because she's the one who'll onboard you with this stuff. She helps out with that. Anyway, let's change topics now. Get this, guys. IU biology researcher pleads guilty to smuggling E. coli DNA from China, concealed in clothing shipment. Now, E. coli is a common bacteria, true. Yeah, if you go to Mickey D's, you might get some of it. Might find some on a salad bar somewhere. But there are various E. coli's, lots of variety in that E. coli universe. And some of them are heinously deadly. Some are everyday kind of bacteria, but some strains are very deadly. So we don't need this kind of stuff, but we keep seeing it. Yuhang Jiang, 32-year-old. He was a postdoctoral. He had a PhD, researcher at Indiana University, a researcher, a citizen of the People's Republic of China. But he lied when questioned about being a member of the CCP. He actually was a member of the CCP. Like, what are we letting this country, guys? Is this not heinous? was like, yeah, women's underwear. Well, yeah, you might get E. coli in women's underwear anyway, right? uh, or just imagine if some woman was bought some of this underwear and put it on and picked that stuff up from the underwear. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, who knows what they were planning to do with this stuff, guys. This is off the charts. This has got to be stopped. Well, we got a lot of earthquakes going on. Look at this. A lot of shaking and baking, but none of them are giant ones. We got, 5.0 range ones at Dak, Alaska, the end of the Aleutian chain. We got Denali area. Looks like there. Yep, Denali National Park. Cantwell, float up in Alaska there. And then we got down here in the Kermadec Islands. We see a lot of them over there. Puerto Ricans are busy dancing tonight, and we always got a lot of earthquakes right here at this southern tip vertex. 3 plates joining here where the Juan de Fuca plate is. Petrolia, California. There's a lot of earthquakes there. Ooh, look over here. Look around Greece or Crete or somewhere. Where's this at? Greece, 4.8. A lot of shaking going on. Nothing much over a 5.0, thankfully. Space weather. Well, we've had a G2 storm that's had the Earth, and it's been mainly from the Krell hole. It's had our magnetosphere ringing a bit. We got a G1, apparently a minor G1 coming up. Sunspots. We got a couple of interesting sunspots aimed right at us. They're not ginormous. You're not going to get a Carrington event out of that. Green blobs and arcs. We got some interesting type of aurora activity. Looks a little different than the veils you see sometimes. Maybe because it's a coronal hole solar wind type storm. I don't know what makes that different. That big hole is about to turn away from us. It's not facing directly at us anymore, so that might help a little bit. Asteroids. Well, we got one coming in today between the Earth and the Moon. 6.5 times weight, it's a tiny one, just 3 meters. Oh, no. Let me rephrase that. It's coming in at just outside the geosynchronous satellites. I misread. It's 0.3 lunar distance away. So 3/10 of the way to the moon, just outside our geosynchronous astronauts. But it's only 3 meters. It's a tiny one. And it's traveling 6.5 kilometers per second, kind of slow for one of these. Could be a space booster. Could be a space booster. Every time I see a small one going slow like that, I'm always suspicious it might be a rocket upper stage or something like that. Day was the 100th anniversary of the 1906 earthquake. You've been having tremors. Oh, wow. That's noteworthy. Very noteworthy. All right, I'm going to stop the share. I think I've been kind of keeping up the comments tonight. I'm going to thumb through them real fast. So the news portion of this is over for our coffee club members. We got it done in less than an hour. I actually hope you get it done faster than that. I'll check comments here real quick. Make sure I didn't miss anything major. I've been kind of watching it, Kim Possible. Good to see you. I wasn't checking some of the comments so much early on. So some of the stuff people put in chat disappeared. That's weird. Hey, J Frog. We got a couple people with frog in their name tonight. J Frog. We had another frog the other night. Pouty Frog. J Frog and Pouty Frog. We got 2 frogs in the house. Remember when I used to do lives from the near the swamp where all the frogs would be singing at night? Y'all remember that? Yeah, I don't hear many frogs out here. So out here in the desert, not a lot of frogs. I sure had them at my place in Alabama. All right, yeah, I've seen most of this. Let's see. Roger Lewis, we're living in the last days, sad to say. It certainly has the trappings of it, don't it? Of course, Jesus always told us we don't know the day or the hour. We're seeing a lot of signs, a lot of warning signs. That's why I tell you guys to get your preps in order. I always tell you be right with your maker. I always tell you that, guys. Be right with your maker. That may be your number one prep for your soul. How many times throughout history have people thought it was the last days? Yep, that's been a lot. That's why I said you don't know the day or the hour. But like they always said, keep your lamps clean, your candles trimmed. Yeah. I'm gonna roll through this stuff real fast. All right. Vance is talking about how they won't let the land be bought up by foreigners. Well, they're talking about this land there in military bases. We're going to try to change that. We've let too much of that happen. Problem is the camel's already got its nose in the tent. They already own too much land near big military bases. And that puts us at a huge risk. A huge risk. All right, my friends. We're going to try to wrap this stuff up early tonight. So we're going to do our egg guess right now. How many eggs did I get today? We'll wrap this up real fast tonight. How many eggs did I get today? Because we're going late. I got a late start. How many eggs did I get today? Time to guess. How many eggs did I get today? I have to finish my chores. Everyone gets good rest, everyone. How many eggs did I get today? Come on, guys. Hey, Brian, how you doing? How many eggs we get today? Whoa. Let's see. No, we ain't got it yet. We ain't got it yet. People are hitting close, but we ain't got it yet. How many eggs? Come on. Don't guess the same number somebody already guessed. There we go. Kim Possible got it. Kim Possible got it. 8. We got 8 eggs tonight. It was 8 or today. Got 8 eggs. All right, stop your guessing. We'll do the next guess here in a minute. All right, no, I ain't got no 16, 17. I wish. I only got 12 hens. All right, stop the guessing. Kim Possible got it. She got the number. All right, now the numbers quit rolling. So how many Easter eggs I get today? How many Easter eggs today? Oh, we got a donation. Hang on, guys. Kim Possible, thank you for the wow, $40 super chat through my website. Thank you, Kim. Salute to Kim. Kim gave us a great donation tonight. All right. Kim Possible, you got it again. We got 2 Easter eggs. Kim, you got it twice. You got the count of the total number and the Easter egg number. That's right. Kim Possible gets the award tonight. Is our good friend who's not in the house tonight, Arnold Schmidt always says. He says you want a self-paid trip to lost wages. As if you should want to do it. There they are. There's the 2 Easter eggs, and there's the 8 eggs, including a couple of really nice dark Dominica eggs, brown eggs. That one's got spots on it. Yeah, one of my hidden lay spotted eggs. So, yes, Kim. It's a Kim's night tonight because Kim got both guesses, and she gave a good donation tonight, $40. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Kim. So that is very much appreciated. I won nothing, and I'm very happy. You sound like you're House of Klaus talking here. Anyway, let's see here. I'll show y'all something else before we go. I won nothing. I'm very happy. Well, you didn't win anything material except you got the guesses right. You won our appreciation tonight. How about that? In more ways than one. So, really appreciate everybody here tonight. So, I want to show you something else here. So, this is one of the snacks I get from. I was getting a blueberry one. They got 3 different flavors of this stuff. This one's peach pearline. This is coming through that company I was showing you, family-owned company. I thought I had the favorite snack. I thought blueberry was going to be my favorite snack. But I tried this peach pearline. It's got tons of it. Well, let me tell you something. Blew my mind. Guys, this tastes, if you like peach cobbler, you'll love this. Tastes just like peach cobbler with a few pecans in it. Mm-hmm. Mm. Gosh, I love that. Mm. Anyway, I'm supposed to advertise. That's why I didn't show you the name on it, but well, the brand name of the that's just good. Mm. Anyway, all that said, um, yeah, I got to switchgreg.com. So my friends, y'all be hearing from Lisa soon. If y'all went in, we hadn't talked to Lisa in a few days. I don't know where she's at. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna have to run and eat that so fast. I got some up down my windpipe. It was good. Anyway, it's like peach cobbler. Crazy. So, guys, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. Kim Possible, salute to you for the super chat. We're getting both yeses right tonight. And I just want to thank everybody for being here. Well, thank you much for keeping the channel clean. Everybody for joining tonight and watching. And everyone, we're in interesting times right now. Get your preps ready. Stay ready. Keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. All you need is a can of whipped cream. Those would be good dipped in whipped cream. Oh my gosh. You're inspiring me to decadence, Brian. Anyway, so hey, thank you all for being here tonight. We are family. Hey, you go to bed tonight. Before you go to bed, pray for Susan Vaughn, please. They're going to be okay. Have faith. Yeah, but you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared. They tell you to be prepared in the Bible. It tells you to keep your weeks clean, all that kind of stuff. The Bible really tells you to get prepared, and it tells you to pray. So, anyone, friends, prep and pray, and hope for a better day. Keep your eyes wide open, the head on a swivel, and on